We kick off this afternoon's racing with race number 289 on the programme. This is a straight final of the leg, trunk and arms women's single scull. The LTA events are held over 1,000 metres. The current title holder is Kathleen Murdoch from Nepean Rowing Club and the New South Wales Institute of Sport, and she's racing again today. She's joined in lane 1 by Rebecca Markwell of Bundaberg, in lane 2 by Bronte Marshall of PLC Sydney, in lane 3 Lauren Webber of PLC Sydney, in lane 4 Sarah Weitzer of the University of Tasmania. Kathleen Murdoch is in lane 5. In lane 6, Emma Yago of Mersey. In lane 7, Ishani Roy of PLC Sydney. And in lane 8, Ruby Sutherland of PLC Sydney.
Race just going through the halfway mark. Just a further reminder to all competitors in these windy conditions, please make sure you strap down your boats in the boat parks at all time. They're not in use. And also, please return all bow numbers as soon as possible after the conclusion of each race. And we're well and truly underway in this race for the LTA Women's Single Scull, and bit of a preview of the interstate regatta coming up here as well, with 3 competitors who will race for their states on Sunday. Rebecca Markwell from Queensland, lane 1. Sarah Weitzer of Tasmania at lane 4. And the defending champion in the interstate single scull is Kate Murdoch from the Nepean Rowing Club. And she would be our race leader, led through the 500-metre mark at least, although getting a fair challenge from also Sarah Weitzer, it seems, on the far side. And the other sculler up there in contention, just trying to work out who's who. The steering in a couple of these boats are a little off course, but it certainly does seem to be Kate Murdoch, the leading sculler, along with Emma Yago of Mersey in lane 6 and Sarah Weitzer, the Tasmanian sculler, in lane 4. They're inside the final couple of 100 metres now. And in fact, also looks like one of the 4 entrants from PLC Sydney. It might be Bronte Marshall out there in lane 2, who is right up there in the closing stages now of this race. But it is lane 5, in fact, of the sculler on the far side of the course. It is Kate Murdoch racing over on the far side with the 5 bow number on, so not in the allocated lane, but Kate Murdoch it will be who takes out the LTA Women's Single Scull. Second place does go to Emma Yago of Mersey, and third place, lane 4, Sarah Weitzer of the University of Tasmania. So it was the top 3 that we suspected it would be, and Kate Murdoch adds another Australian title to her collection. The visually impaired athlete Kate Murdoch, therefore rowing in the outside lane of the course. Fourth home will be Bronte Marshall, the first of the 4 PLC Sydney entrants in this race. Then lane 3, Lauren Webber, also from PLC Sydney, where these 4 girls are coached by Matthew Donnellan. And the next 2 coming home on the grandstand side, Ruby Sutherland, lane 8, Ishani Roy in lane 7. And the other sculler finishing on the far side of the course as well, the athlete allocated to lane 1, Ruby Markwell from the Bundaberg Rowing Club, who will be the Queensland sculler in the interstate single scull race. There goes Ruby Sutherland across in what will be 6th place. 7th goes to Ishani Roy, and 8th then to Rebecca Markwell over in lane 1.
So confirming the placings in that very exciting final of the leg, trunk and arms women's single scull. Defending her title, Kate Murdoch from Nepean Rowing Club and the New South Wales Institute of Sport took out the win. In second, Emma Yago from Mersey. In third, the University of Tasmania sculler Sarah Weitzer. Fourth, Bronte Marshall from PLC Sydney. Fifth, Lauren Webber from PLC Sydney. Sixth, Ruby Sutherland from PLC Sydney. And seventh, Ishani Roy from PLC Sydney. Eighth, Rebecca Markwell of Bundaberg. Provisional time for that race, 4 minutes, 13.36 seconds. The margins 5.63 and 4.81. We now move to the B final of the leg, trunk and arms men's single scull, again held over 1,000 metres. In lane 2, representing Dragons, Cameron Kosmala. In lane 3, from Nepean Rowing Club, Ben Felton, coached by Lindsay Callahan. Stephen Knott of Penrith Rowing Club is in lane 4. Ben Gibson of Sydney Rowing Club, coached by Jason Baker, is in lane 5. In lane 6, Ian Cooper of ANU, coached by Nick Hunter. And in lane 7, Daniel Yao-Chi Choi of Team Hong Kong.
And just about at the halfway mark in this B final of the LTA men's single scull. And it is the Penrith sculler Stephen Knott who's first through the 500 metre mark. In fact, quite convincingly first through, about 6.5 seconds ahead of the remainder of the field. Stephen Knott in 2:05.01. And then 6.5 seconds back to Ian Cooper from the Australian National University in second place. Ian Cooper will be racing in the Interstate Regatta for the ACT on Sunday, as will a number of the other athletes competing in these next two races, the B and A final of the LTA men's single scull. Of course, for these athletes, it's their third race in a period, I think, of about less than 24 hours. They rode a heat and a repechage yesterday, and now the finals taking place to open this afternoon's program. So Stephen Knott from the Penrith Rowing Club. He's very determined to win this race on what was his home course until he moved to New Zealand not long ago. He's returned for this regatta at least, and certainly looking to be in a very comfortable spot at this stage in the B final of the LTA men's single scull. Stephen Knott there from Penrith in lane 4. A good chase behind him. Ian Cooper from the ANU, and also Sydney's Ben Gibson there in lane 5. Sitting just back in third place at this stage. And then the Nepean's Ben Felton, Cameron Kosmala from Dragons on the far side. And also Team Hong Kong's Daniel Yao-Chi Choi on the grandstand side of the course. Ben Felton there in lane 3, another of the visually impaired athletes in this race, which is why he has an umpire's boat following him closely down the course to assist with the steering, and he's doing a very good job steering his way probably into third or at least fourth spot at this stage, but finishing fairly strongly. But that race for the minor placings well behind our leader, lane 4, Stephen Knott from the Penrith Rowing Club. He's across the line now to take out this B final. A big win to Stephen Knott of Penrith, and second place will indeed in the end be taken by the Sydney Rowing Club sculler Ben Gibson, just ahead of a very close race for third and fourth. Ian Cooper, I think, will just get the nod over Ben Felton there in fourth. And then over the far side of the course, Cameron Kosmala from Dragons in fifth place, and Daniel Yao-Chi Choi from Team Hong Kong across the line now in sixth place in the B final of the LTA men's single scull.
Reconfirming those results in the B final of the leg, trunk and arms men's single scull. A win for Stephen Knott of Penrith Rowing Club in a time of 4 minutes 13.95. Second, Ben Gibson of Sydney Rowing Club, the margin 10.06 seconds. In third, Ian Cooper of ANU, the margin 2.61, and in fourth, Ben Felton of Nepean Rowing Club, the margin 0.51. Cameron Kosmala of Dragons placed fifth, and Daniel Yao Chi Choi of Team Hong Kong was sixth. We have a start in the A final of the leg, trunk and arms men's single scull. In lane 1, George Langer from Team Vanuatu. In lane 2, Aaron Skinner from Nestlé's, coached by Jessica Brunt. In lane 3, Alistair Chong of the University of Tasmania, coached by Mark Stott. In lane 4, Kevin Du Toit from UTS, coached by Jan Smythe. In lane 5, Mac Russell of the University of Queensland, coached by Michael Russell. In lane 6, James Talbot from Balmain, coached by Anne Craig, Liam James and Barbara Ramjan. In lane 7, Kevin Wall of Balmain. And in lane 8, Chris Horsfall of Nestlé's.
And well into the work already in this 1,000-metre race, the A final of the leg, trunk and arms men's single scull. Mac Russell, lane 5, is the defending champion in this race from the University of Queensland. He's also the reigning state champion of both Queensland and New South Wales. So he would be the sculler to watch in lane 5 of this race. He's also, of course, racing for Queensland in the Interstate Regatta come Sunday, along with 3 other athletes in this race. Kevin Du Toit from UTS will race for New South Wales. He's in lane 4. In this race, the University of Tasmania's Alistair Chong will race for Tasmania on Sunday. He's in lane 3. And beside him in lane 2, the Nestles sculler Aaron Skinner will race for Victoria in the Interstate Regatta. But they'll all have their work cut out to chase down Mac Russell, who's opened up a pretty convincing lead of over a boat length here at the halfway mark now in this LTA men's single scull A final. Mac Russell through in 1:45.21. In 3.27 seconds he has on the sculler beside him, Kevin Du Toit from the University of Technology, Sydney. Those two were the 2 heat winners from yesterday who went straight through to the final, so the only 2 not to have to go through 3 races over 24 hours. And it is Mac Russell from Kevin Du Toit. Then behind them, Alistair Chong from the University of Tasmania, narrowly back in 3rd. Only just ahead of the first of the 2 Balmain scullers, James Talbot, over in lane 6, who's a relative newcomer to para rowing and doing a good job here in this A final of the LTA men's single scull. Behind him in 5th place was Balmain's Kevin Wall. And then it was George Langer from Team Vanuatu over the far side of the course in his very first international regatta. And they were followed by the 2 Nestles scullers, Aaron Skinner lane 2 and Chris Horsfall lane 8. But Mac Russell from the University of Queensland's extending his lead now as he comes inside the final 100 metres and looking to add another medal to his already impressive collection. He comfortably leads Kevin Du Toit, and also on this side, the Balmain sculler, James Talbot, finishing quite well. In fact, would have moved up into 2nd place now, I would suggest, ahead. In fact, it's Alistair Chong from the University of Tasmania over there in lane 3. Kevin Du Toit has had a slow second 500 and is well back. And Mac Russell will win the LTA men's single scull. He comes across the finish line now and secures the Australian title. 2nd place will be lane 6, the Balmain sculler, James Talbot. And narrowly 3rd to lane 3, Alistair Chong from the University of Tasmania, ahead of Kevin Wall from Balmain. A great race on the far side of the course between lanes 1 and 2, and it will be Nestle's Aaron Skinner sneaking up into 5th place ahead of George Langer from Team Vanuatu. Then lane 8, Nestle's Chris Horsfall. And now we see Kevin Du Toit from the University of Technology, Sydney, who's had a bit of a back injury in recent times, and he's just rowing over the course to complete the 1,000 metres here, and he'll be across the line very shortly to complete this LTA men's single scull A final.
The results of the A final of the leg, trunk and arms men's single scull. The current title holder from the University of Queensland, Mac Russell, defending his title once again. In 2nd position, Jimmy Talbot from Balmain Rowing Club. In 3rd, Alistair Chong from University of Tasmania. In 4th, Kevin Wall from Balmain Rowing Club. In 5th, Aaron Skinner of Nestlé's. In 6th, George Langer of Team Vanuatu. In 7th, Chris Horsfall of Nestlé's. And in 8th, Kevin Du Toit of UTS Rowing Club. The provisional time for that race, 3 minutes 41.32 seconds. The margins 8.61, 2.59. Kevin Wall just missing out by 1 second. The presentation of medals for the Leg, Trunk and Arms Women's Single Scull Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Gordon Marks, Rowing Australia Head Coach Para Rowing. Third place and bronze medalist, representing Tasmanian University, Sarah Weitzer. Sarah is coached by Mark Stott. Second place and silver medalist, representing Mersey Rowing Club, Emma Jago. Emma is coached by Gregory Marshall. Gold medalist and Australian champion for 2017, representing Nepean Rowing Club and the New South Wales Institute of Sport, Kate Murdoch. Kate is coached by Lindsay Callahan. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our national champion and our medalists in the Leg, Trunk and Arms Women's Single Scull. The presentation of medals for the Leg, Trunk and Arms Men's Single Scull Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Gordon Marks, Rowing Australia Head Coach, Para Rowing. Third place and bronze medalist, representing Tasmanian University, Alistair Chong. Alistair is coached by Mark Stott. Second place and silver medalist, representing Balmain Rowing Club, James Talbot. James is coached by Anne Craig, Liam James and Barbara Ramjan. Gold medalist and Australian champion for 2017, defending his title from last year, representing the University of Queensland, Mac Russell. Mac is coached by his father, Michael Russell. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our national champion and medalists in the Leg, Trunk and Arms Men's Single Scull.